Okay, so today we're going to talk about measuring and how important it is to be precise in your measurements. So today I'm going to do a sugar cookie dough recipe, and I'm actually timesing it by 4. I need about 5 dozen sugar cookies this weekend. So I'm going to times it by 4. So I'm going to go through different ingredients, how to properly measure them and make sure we're getting the same amount. Precision is important, especially in baking, because there's a lot of chemical reactions that occur in baking, and your product is not going to turn out correctly if the measurements aren't there. So here we have shortening, which is a fat, okay? And most cookie recipes call for shortening. This is a butter flavored shortening, that's why it's yellow. And then you guys are all familiar with butter. The cool thing about butter is they come in sticks. One stick is a half a cup. Sometimes in the kitchen, in the commercial kitchen, we will get a block of butter. I don't have one with me, but it's basically 4 sticks all together, solid block, because commercially they sell it by the pound. So commercially, when we purchase it at school, we'll get it by the pound, but at home we know that 1 stick of butter is 8 tablespoons or a half a cup. So I just wanted to show you that. So it's nice because the butter has the markings on there, where like maybe shortening, you have a bigger container and then you have to sit there and measure it out. So I need 3 cups of shortening. So I'm gonna go in here. And remember, it is a stiffer fat. And I'm gonna wanna push down to make sure that I get exactly 1 cup. Okay, and once I have my 1 cup, then I have my separate container over here where I'm putting all the shortening. I keep all my ingredients separate until the mixing process. The only thing I will combine is the vanilla and the eggs. So that's 1 cup, and we will go back in here and we will grab another cup. The only thing I don't like about shortening and butter per se, it can get really messy and on your hands and hard to clean in the sink. We want to make sure we use a lot of soap. The soap will kill the fat particles or break them up. Okay, so another cup. Make sure your measuring utensils are all clean before using, and make sure you have a clean surface. That way if something falls on this surface, like a chunk of shortening, I could take it off and use it. Okay, 1 more cup of shortening. Once again, just pushing it down in there, making sure it's all down and leveled. And this is going to go over here in this cup. And then I'm not going to use this utensil for anything, but because I'm going to be mixing this after I'm measuring it, I'm going to keep this utensil right in my shortening, and I'm not going to use it for any other ingredients that I'm measuring out today. And then I can put this to the side, and then I can sometimes you'll have the opportunity to return the product back to the original container, and sometimes depending on what you're using that product for, you cannot do that. For example, if I'm sticking my hands in a bunch of flour, then I can't return the flour back to the flour bin. It becomes trash at that point because of cross-contamination. So I have my 3 cups of shortening. My next thing is going to be 4 cups of flour. So I have my, 4 cups of sugar. So I have my sugar container, and I have my cup measurer. So I'm gonna go in here, and with this straight edge, I can measure off the top of the sugar. Once again, you want to make sure your measuring cups and things are clean, because if they are not, I would be cross-contaminating right now. Make sure you wash your hands before starting, and you're wearing your clean apron or clothes. 1 more cup of sugar. So this is a large amount. You might not see a large amount like this in class. I'm having difficulty. I'm going to use this measuring cup to kind of get some more out. Okay. And it's nicer, these containers at home are counter containers that hold your sugar and flour. Sometimes the hole at the top is a little small, so sometimes it's good to use a separate container to measure things out. So I have my 4 cups of sugar. Now we're gonna do our eggs. So we know that with eggs, right, comes shells, okay? And we don't want to get a shell into our product. So what we are going to do is we're going to crack all our eggs separate first. Make sure we don't have any shells, and then we will add them to our bowl. So I'm going to do this with 8 eggs. Okay, so those are my 8 eggs. And I like to add my vanilla in with my eggs because in the cookie dough mixing process, the vanilla goes in at the same time as the eggs. And I need 4 teaspoons. Okay, so I need 4 teaspoons. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to slowly, so it doesn't overflow. Too much vanilla can sometimes create a bitter flavor, so we want to make sure we're following recipes. Sometimes people think, oh, if I add extra vanilla, it'll be good to go. It'll be better. That's not always the case. Okay, so I have my eggs, my sugar, and my shortening. Now we're going to measure the flour. I need 10 cups of flour for this because, once again, I'm doing a very large amount. So I have my offset spatula. I'm gonna come in here and just scrape it off. I'm not packing the ingredients down, okay? I'm just leveling it at the top so I know that I only have 1 cup. So that's 3. Flour, and then I have baking soda and salt. Salt, I need 4 teaspoons. So once again, I would measure over something else. Then you always want to clear it off. That's 1. 2. So salt. Now with this extra salt, what do? As long as it didn't touch anything, you can put it back in the salt container. And then we will do our baking powder, which I need 4 teaspoons of as well. In between, I would wipe off your tablespoons with a single-use paper towel. And the nice thing about most baking powder containers is they have this lip at the top that you can scrape your measuring spoon on. Okay, so we have baking powder, salt, flour, eggs, sugar, and our shortening. So now I'm ready for the mixing process of our cookie dough.